They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple.
This is an assault on America. Nothing like this has ever happened before. There's never been anything like it. Every legal scholar said this case is nonsense. It should never have been brought out. It doesn't deserve anything like this. There is no case. And they've said people that don't necessarily follow or like Donald Trump said this is an outrage that this case was brought. This is political persecution. This is a persecution like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America. And that's why I'm very proud to be here. This is an assault on our country. And it's a country that's failing. It's a country that's run by an incompetent man who's very much involved in this case. This is really an attack on a political opponent. That's all it is. So I'm very honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the AV to the 7th Power channel, where we talk about all things law, true crime, and a bit of political debauchery. Today, we are unpacking the explosive start to the Donald Trump hush money trial in New York City in 2024.
And you join us at a very newsworthy time. Some of your lawyering led to the exposure of the evidence in this case. The New York trial now will be Donald Trump's first and possibly only trial this year. How do you assess the strength of the prosecution's case?
Well, I think what I'm about to say is going to surprise a lot of people, and that is that, I think this is the wrong case at the wrong time, Ari. I think that the case is in many ways stale at this juncture. You're talking about conduct that occurred some 8 years ago. I think the fact that it's occurring in state court in New York is a mistake. And I think that when you are going to potentially deprive tens of millions of Americans of their choice for the presidency of the United States, whether we agree with those folks or not, or regardless of what we may think of Donald Trump, I think it's a mistake to do it based on a case of this nature. I was hoping, frankly, that there would have been less hand-wringing, less bedwetting, and that the January 6th case would have been filed in a more timely manner. There's no excuse or reason as to why that case could not have been brought in 2021, and it should have been brought in 2021. And had it been brought in 2021, we would not find ourselves in the situation that we're in right now. Now, I know a lot of people have been critical of the United States Supreme Court, and as well as the D.C. Circuit. I think those complaints are frankly misplaced.
Wait a minute!
What is all this about?
Politics.
Huh? Politics?
Everything ready for the secret meeting, Smithers? Yes, sir.
Professor, how do we stop him?
We already know their secret.
They want to bury him.
Throw this case out of court. It's dumb.
Someone needs to tell Donald Trump.
Hello, Donald Trump?
And now we return you to our regular scheduled program.
So you can see there's a few things that, number one, you guys know, not only do I have a legal background, I also have a public relations and PR background. I really geek out over social media presences, social media profiles, things of the like, right? I think it could be really fascinating for us to peel back some layers of the onion when you pay attention to this stuff. So we know that this case is starting on April 15th. So what is Stormy's latest post? Look at this. It says, New Orleans, I'm coming home. Join me today, April 3rd, 7 p.m. for the private screening of my documentary, followed by Q&A, photos, giveaways, and more. Do you see this here? You see this image in black and white? Stormy is launching a documentary today. And what's the title of the documentary? Being outspoken is not a crime. Let me repeat it for the cheap seats in the back. Being outspoken is not a crime. So her documentary is coming out today, the 3rd, 12 days before this trial starts. I thought that was really interesting. So at first I was like, oh, okay. So as I'm pulling the court documents and checking out her social, that's the first thing I noticed. Then I saw this. So this is Stormy in the middle. And, I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure who this gentleman on the left is. But I'm looking at the person on the right-hand side. That is one, Kathy Griffin.
Day one has set a dramatic tone for what promises to be a riveting few weeks in court. Let's get straight into the details. First up, the pending motions. There were at least 3 major legal motions that we need to talk about, but I'm only going to cover 2. The first was a motion to recuse Justice Juan Merchan. Trump's legal team argued that Justice Merchan should be disqualified because his daughter is a noted Biden supporter and even worked for the campaign. However, this motion was denied, keeping Justice Merchan on the case. The second motion was related to what's known as the catch and kill deal. This involves suppressing damaging stories by buying them and not publishing them. If you remember in last week's live stream, we talked about the National Enquirer and how they were involved in the Stormy Daniels story.
Stormy was going to go to the nationalenquirer.com to share her experiences with Donald Trump. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the National Enquirer. I don't know if you go to the grocery store and you see the tabloids and all those things. And if you've ever picked up a National Enquirer publication and you read the shenanigans that are in there, it's not the most reputable news source. So if we were to just go to the National Enquirer now and see what type of stuff they write about, you know, this is the front page on the National Enquirer. You know, sometimes they have front page Sasquatch. Let's look at their top 4 or 5 articles and then we'll jump into legal docs. Article 1, the stigma preventing celebrities from seeking help. Monaco and AMP Monaco, risk versus reward. I did not like this headline. Toby Keith's cancer hell. Leave Toby Keith alone. Leave him alone. Rise of the machines. Things get real with J-Lo and Ryan Seacrest. Mean Girl Amanda, her Hooters horror. This is the type of stuff that they write about. These are their headlines. No harmony for NCIS Gary Cole. Like, James Caan looking for gal he can't refuse. All right. I mean, do you guys get the picture? Do you get what I'm putting down here? This is the type of stuff that these people put out, right? Stormy wanted to take the information that she had about Donald Trump and go to the National Enquirer and put a piece out on it. They were going to pay her to do that, right? So she wanted the money. Michael Cohen goes to her and says, no, don't put this piece out. Trump is running right now. We don't need any negative press or affiliations with you going out there. You know, I say allegedly because, guys, like, I like to look at the legal docs and see what was alleged, what was responded to, what is true and what is not, what can be proven by a jury, because this is going to be a pretty high profile case.
Trump's team sought to prevent this information from influencing the trial, but the court also denied this motion. This means that the jury will hear about these alleged arrangements during the proceedings. Now, on to the bombshell moment of the day, and what can only be described as a personal and political blow to Trump. The judge made it clear that attending the trial takes precedence over all else, even family matters. Trump was informed that if he does not attend trial, he faces arrest. This ruling came down just as his son Barron is scheduled to graduate high school, a milestone that President Trump risks missing due to this trial schedule.
Next Thursday, we're before the United States Supreme Court on a very big hearing on immunity. And this is something that we've been waiting for a long time. And the judge, of course, is not going to allow us. He's a very conflicted judge. And he's not going to allow us to go to that. He won't allow me to leave here for a half a day, go to D.C. and go before the United States Supreme Court because he thinks he's superior, I guess, to the Supreme Court. We got a real problem with this judge. We have a real problem with a lot of things having to do with this trial, including the DA, because you go right outside and people are being mugged and killed all day long, and he's sitting here all day with about 10 or 12 prosecutors over nothing, over what people say shouldn't be a trial. So I just want to thank you very much, but that I can't go to my son's graduation, or that I can't go to the United States Supreme Court, that I'm not in Georgia or Florida or North Carolina campaigning like I should be. It's perfect for the radical left Democrats. That's exactly what they want. This is about election interference. That's all it's about. Thank you very much.
Many in the political sphere have been taking a moment to really address that this is an election interference. Donald Trump is running for president again. Being in a courtroom when he should be campaigning is a huge argument to make. The Trump team argued that the president, a former president of the United States, not only has to campaign, but there are other vital legal issues that he is involved with right now. Judge Merchan also denied the ability for President Trump to attend those proceedings. With the stakes so high and the world watching, the court has decided against live streaming the proceedings. This decision aims to control the trial's media coverage and minimize external influences on the jury.
To my liberal friends out there, all you're doing is showing that you're scared you can't beat them on the issues and the merits. That's why he keeps saying it's a political campaign against me. That's why he keeps saying they can't beat me at the election, at the polls. This is the only way they could do it. And if you don't put him in jail, and he still goes from being the presumptive GOP nominee to the official GOP nominee, and he goes to the polls, even though he was going to whine about winning and being rigged again, you have given more fodder to that argument, which means we'll never have peace in this country, because tens of millions of people see what extent the other side is willing to go through just to keep him out of office, because they can't beat him on their own merits. And they're gonna say, hey, you trumped this up against him again, and we'll have no peace, when all you gotta do is figure out a way to beat him on the issues. But you haven't been able to do it.
Speaking of media, there's a strict policy in place now. To prevent any chance of influencing the jury, all media are required to remain outside of the courthouse during the breaks. This is a significant step to ensure that the proceedings are conducted without public interference or commentary from the former president himself, who is known for his direct engagements with the press. Trump, however, has been providing opening statements to media at the beginning of the court proceedings, and will be doing this at the end of the day during the court proceedings. What do you guys think? Do you think that solely relying on reporters is going to get us, the public, the information that we want to see without live streaming the proceedings? Let me know what you think in the comments section. As we continue to cover this trial, expect more updates and analysis right here. We will be breaking down the legal strategies, key testimonies, and of course, any more bombshells that are likely to come our way. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more legal analysis and commentary. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the comment section. See you in the next one. Bye.